our hometown Zmigrod had a special distinction in Poland. I think there were only 2 towns that had that tradition, the Catholic, to make a Judas. The Judas used to be when the Holy Wednesday. They used to carry them in but I'm going ahead. Before the Judas, a Saturday night, the people, the Balabatim, were afraid they shouldn't grab their strammers. They used to go from Mincha without the strammers because they needed a strammer to put on the Judas. The Judas, they made effigy from straw and put them on a bekisher, and if they had a stramel, it was effigy of a Jew, a Haredi Jew. What they did when it came afternoon, Holy Wednesday, they used to carry him to the steeple of the church, which was
the steeple of the church.
Put them on the highest point into a window. The body should be outside, and they were holding it by its feet and shaking him. And one was usually the same man. I forgot his name. He used to have a speech. The speech contained of cursing the Jews. Let's see, Judah came to Zmigrod and he said, all Jews, all kinds of cursing. It was going on like for 20, half an hour, these speeches, and then they threw him down from the window to the ground, and there were already usually boys from all the villages used to come with sticks for this, and they put on the stretcher the Judas, and they used to carry him and hit him all the time with their sticks, and they used to stop by the Rosh Hashanah, by the roof, and put them up in curse again.
Put up the
Judas is standing, yeah, and they did it for a few prominent Babatim. In the end, they carried him to the town, to the bridge for the Vistula. Was like sometimes thousands of young boys, hoorah! They used to scream, hoorah! On the bridge, they used to put them a fire and throw them down to the water. And people were afraid to go out because if they saw a boy, they could hit him very hard. I mean, injure him too. In this tradition, it is unbelievable that in 1940 they tried to gather again for the Judas, and the German soldiers didn't permit them. Not because they wanted mitnei ahavat Yisrael, but they were afraid of large gathering from young people. So the Germans stopped it cold. This is the irony of these things. It's people in other towns couldn't believe it, that such a medieval things still exist. But why do I mention this? It's always this week's is the Christians celebrate Holy Week, and I always remember when it comes to Wednesday, that this what happened. In 1 year there were Jewish, boys from youth organization, and they wanted to know where they paid somebody, where they are making in the and they stole the Yiddish, and they stole it, but they managed to put together another one. Sometimes we used to stand with mirrors from the sun and try to but it was too far
to shine in their eyes?
Shine and the stipple. But this was on the other side, you remember, David, our market was a huge square, quite big, but quite a distance, from them. Now let me go back for Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach, when it came afternoon, the man used to go usually with the room and bake the matzahs for the Seder. Usually this only man did it. They made like a few pounds only, but this was very holy matzahs. Everybody tried to get it for the Seder. When they were rolling and preparing, they used to say Hallel, hold Hallel. I guess must be the minig someplace in Borough too, I don't know. But this was a Chassidish minig. In Baas, in Pesach, we used to say Hallel by preparing the matzah, then Hallel by Tfilat Mariv, and again by the Seder.
How many times were you actually at the baking of matzahs on Erev Pesach?
Once.
Where did they do it?
1 year we got together, we made with another person who had a bigger oven, and we became partners in baking the matzahs. But the matzahs used to bake with them, but they used to start and we used to work together. And by them they used to bake the Erev Pesach, the matzahs. Not by us, never, but so I was able to be when they baked the matzahs Erev Pesach.
How old were you then?
It must have been, I don't remember, must have been before Bar Mitzvah, for sure.
And when people baked the matzahs mitzvah on Erev Pesach, would they bake that to sell or just to use themselves?
No, for use them, not to sell, because there's no money price for this. It's the roof, people who used to be there.
So how many people would actually bake matzah for Erev Pesach?
Not too many, but maybe they baked in another place where they baked matzah, because we weren't the only bakery. There was other people who used to bake matzahs. So this was in Pesach was the nicest yontiv, because only around we didn't. Eggs were very expensive, and for Pesach we used to prepare the biggest. We used to have a huge pot to boil the laundry, and in this we prepared like 200 or more eggs for Pesach. Usually my mother liked it should be over. She never liked it should run short. So, but buying this, it took a time, because you didn't go to the store. You waited. You were standing at the entrance from the town, and the peasant used to come with the eggs, and you used to bargain, see if it's fresh, and you bought little by little the same way you bought chicken. But the peasants standing outside when they came in to the town, and I always tell people how good it is here. You go to a store, you don't have to buy a chicken and go to and see the chicken should be yellow, should have a lot of fat, and then you have to buy a quittel, a ticket to go to the shochet, which wasn't. Let's see, the chicken can cost $1, as a lot of 50, and the price of the ticket was 40 grosh, was quite expensive. And you got to the shochet, but the shochet was always crowded before Yom Tov. It wasn't. We didn't know what a line is, because it was only called the Alam Gavra, who had big arms and could push to the shochet, and the shochet used to take the quittel and shecht the chicken, and the chicken used to hang up on a hook. The blood should go down, and when you brought the chicken home, you have to pull out the feathers, and then you put it on the fire to get the little feathers burned, and then you had to open the chicken and throw out the kishkes and wash the inside, everything, and then you had to soak, and after soaking you had a special boat with horse to make melicha, to salt it. You know, I don't remember. It was certain time that the chicken should be soaked and salt. It's not just they did it on a time. This according to the Shulchan Aruch, and then when it's salted, they used to rinse it again. In liver, you couldn't. You had to put it on coals, on a live fire, because otherwise you couldn't cook liver. Use liver, cannot cook it. And the ass, they didn't throw away the head or the legs. Everything was eaten up. So this how it was in Pesach. The best thing was a matzah braya. This only made for Pesach. In Pesach Sheni was a treat. My mother used to make again matzah brayas. We used to eat gebrocks, but I remember, I don't remember how old I was. Shmini Shel Pesach, my father took me along to go to Tish, to the roof. And the roof was eating, and then everybody got a kneidel, matzah ball, I think it was called, a kneidel. And then they brought for him the chicken. He was eating, and then all of a sudden he pushed away, and I was, how many hands were there? Everybody tried to grab a piece of chicken. For me it looks, it was the only time I went to Tish.
This was in Zmigrod?
Yeah, when my father still was alive and took me around.
How many people were there about?
I don't know, 15, 10, wasn't
big.
Wasn't like hundreds, it was more than 10. They used to come to the Tish. And it's always, usually boys try to get some new clothing for Pesach. And we used to have those round hats with Hasidische Hitler in when you used to have cardboard and the older people they like to hit the kids on top of the head, it makes such a noise.
There was cardboard in the hat, you mean?
And the top of the hat, like it should, the head should be stiff. I forgot how they called them. Was made from ktifa. Ktifa is like you the same that you make the talus, the talus bags from the same
felt.
This the felt was those had made, and usually they brought this from town. It was the factory. For Pesach, children used to show off all the new clothing come to Marev. I seldom had new clothing. When they made clothing, they made me from bigger, like jackets or this. And in the way they did it, they used to take apart the jacket and cut a new, not from a piece of cloth like they do here.
It wasn't new cloth. You would take some old clothing and then remake a new jacket out of it.
This is how it was done. Kramer, I remember the tailor was Eric's uncle, Kramer, Giel Kramer, used to be the tailor, very fine man. Here, a jacket like this would have must cost hundreds of dollars, because the work, how many days of work to take apart, and then the seams to open up, but labor didn't count, was very cheap. Actually, a meter of cloth, good wool cloth, cost more than the work for the whole suit. This is how expensive it was. Okay, that's enough for today.